Oh, it's Sedith. I'd better slip away before he...
Ah, I see you are indulging in a bit of reading. You are fond of books, I take it?
Yes, reading's one of my favorite pastimes. I was just finishing up, actually, so I think I'll...
That is most fortuitous.
Fortuitous? How do you figure?
Come with me. I have a story to share with you. Once upon a time, deep in the cold mountains, there lived a lazy fox and an industrious squirrel. The squirrel worked tirelessly all day long, while the fox did nothing but lounge around and play. When autumn came, the squirrel hurriedly gathered up acorns for the winter. But the fox continued to play without a care. A biting winter fell upon the land. The mountains, caked in snow, concealed all nourishment from sight. The hungry fox went to the squirrel's dwelling, but the squirrel had locked up tight and gone to sleep. Every so often, the squirrel would wake, enjoy a nibble of an acorn, and then return to an easy slumber. The fox, on the other hand, with nowhere else to turn, was forced to scrounge for food in the bitter cold of the forest. Forlorn and hungry, he wandered in solitude all through the winter, until spring came once more. And so it is to this very day that foxes are denied the comforts of hibernation.
Ah, I really learned something about foxes. I read lots of fairy tales like that when I was little. But the lazy fox and the industrious squirrel, huh? That one I don't think I've heard before.
That is not surprising, considering I wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it?
I did. When Flane was young, she loved fairy tales more than anything. I would read them to her often. This one, however, is a more recent creation. I wrote it for the benefit of the children in the monastery. So, what do you think? I'm curious to hear what sort of impression it made on you.
It's so cute!
You found it to be cute?
I can just see it now. You writing fairy tales for your little sister. That's just the cutest thing. Honestly, to me, you usually come across as stern and overly perceptive. But now I know you have a sweet side, too. I feel like I'm seeing you in a whole new light.
That is not what I was hoping to hear. I know you are there, Hanneman.
Well, say, are those crest documents? Ah, Seteth, have you finally decided to cooperate with my research?
Absolutely not. For 21 years I have refused your requests. I have no intention of changing my mind. But I will lend you these documents I have found, on the condition that you stop following me.
I am quite tempted by the offer, but your cooperation would be of much greater value. Your crest, the major crest of Keyhole, is so rare. As far as I am aware, Seteth, you are the only person ever confirmed to bear that particular crest. How did you come to possess it?
My answer is the same as every other time you have asked. I do not know. I was born a commoner, with no connections to any crests. There are no records of my lineage.
Oh, please. That thin explanation could never discourage me. You must understand, I will dig until I find the truth, no matter how long it takes.
You are wasting your time. I cannot give you the answers you seek. Even if you were to discover the reason why I bear the major crest of Keyhole, I doubt it would satisfy you.
That is for me alone to decide. And even if you are correct, that confirmation itself would be a valuable discovery. Such is the way of research, yes?
I'm afraid I cannot attest to that. I'm no scholar. In any case, if you really have no need for the documents, you will not mind if I dispose of them.
Let's not do anything hasty now. I will leave you alone, for now, but I am taking these documents with me. Once I complete my research on these papers, it'll be your turn, Seteth. I will learn the truth of your crest.
It is a pointless endeavor. You will learn nothing from me, no matter how much you try.
Perhaps his stubborn nature is one of the effects of his crest. Now that would be an interesting discovery. The first stage of my research will be to decipher his personality.
What's the use? Even with all I've learned, I still don't understand.
Hello, Constance. I hope I'm not interrupting.
Not at all. I was just in need of a sympathetic ear. I found a magical scroll, which, unless I am mistaken, should relieve me of my woes.
Oh, wonderful!
Not so fast. The magic within this scroll is a type I have neglected to study. It pains me to admit this, but it may take decades of going back to the basics to grasp it.
Decades? That's a long time to spend with your nose buried in an old piece of parchment.
Why must the goddess dangle a solution before me, only to cruelly pull it away?
There's no need to despair. To tell the truth, I like you just as you are.
You do? Why? Those low moods of mine have never done anyone the least bit of good.
You're like a little sister to me. Nothing you do will change that, not even a little bit.
Really?
Of course, you're my sweet Constance, and I like you just as you are.
I see. Perhaps my moods are not the great burden I thought they were.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pressure you. No matter what decision you make, I support you.
I felt no pressure, I assure you. It's more that I feel embarrassed to have been embarrassed. I'd put so much effort into finding a magical means to alleviate myself that it never occurred to me that maybe all I needed was to accept myself.
What will you do with the scroll you found?
Oh, I'll continue to research it, for research's sake if nothing else, but I may have no need of it. It's not as if these moods of mine have ever hampered my efforts to restore my house. And I am as a sister to you, no matter which face I present, yes? Nothing, no mood, no foe, no obligation, will keep me from honoring my sisterly duty to protect you.
We can protect each other.
Good, it is settled. Now we can begin the hard work of reclaiming our titles.
Absolutely. We'll become sister sages and restore our houses to their former glory.
You understand the plan perfectly. If we walk this path together, it can only end in triumph.
Cyril?
Hey.
You seem pensive. Have you been thinking over the advice I gave you?
Yeah, but it kinda scares me.
Scares you? Why?
If I found something else I was more interested in than repaying Lady Rhea, I don't know. Wouldn't that be kinda like I was betraying Lady Rhea, in a way?
Betrayal is a rather strong word, don't you think?
Well, I mean, Lady Rhea is why I got this life. Or any life. If I ended up just leaving her, that just seems real ungrateful and kinda rude.
If Rhea herself felt betrayed by your actions, then yes. I suppose it would be. But if all you are doing is seeking your path, with no harm to her, I do not think she would object. In fact, I am confident she would be happy for you.
You are?
Ask her yourself when she returns. You will see. You want to make Rhea happy, don't you?
Well, yeah, of course.
Then you should do what makes you happy.
Okay, I get that, yeah. By the way, there's something weird I noticed.
What is that?
Before, whenever we'd talk, you always used to call Lady Rhea the Archbishop. But just now, you were calling her Rhea.
Does it perturb you to hear me speak of her with such familiarity?
No, I just wondered why.
I am, of course, Rhea's servant. So, in a more formal context, I must maintain a deferential distance. But she and I are actually very old friends. In fact, we think of one another almost like family. I know Rhea extremely well. When I am confident about how she will feel, I am seldom wrong. So trust me when I say that if your path to happiness takes you away from here, she will wish you the best.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Of course, we must first rescue her from her current predicament. I will be counting on your aid in that.
You got it.
Professor Henneman?
Why, hello, Miss Marianne. A visit from you is a rare pleasure indeed.
I wanted your opinion on something.
Oh, how intriguing. Whatever is on your mind.
I'm beginning to feel that I should accept who I am. I thought it might be time to change my training regimen, to utilize my crest, even if just a little.
What a splendid thought. Quite exceptional. May I ask how it is you've reached this conclusion? I admit, I did not imagine my words would do much to sway you.
The truth is that I was already considering it before we spoke. All of my allies work relentlessly to achieve their goals, both on and off the battlefield. Seeing this, it occurred to me that I have nothing to work toward. I'm no use to anyone. If I could accept who I am, even a little, I might be able to change that. I was still considering, but after we spoke about it, well...
Well, indeed. So it seems my words resonated with you after all.
I'm sorry. I know I'm not the best at communicating. But it's true. Your words gave me a lot to think about. They helped me come to this decision. Whatever my crest, it should serve me.
That's it. Exactly right, Miss Marianne.
That's not to say I've accepted it completely, but I refuse to continue living in fear of myself.
I have every confidence that you will succeed at drawing out your crest's full strength. And I intend to help you at every step. If you'll have my help, that is.
Of course. Your knowledge is much appreciated.
Today was a great day for fishing, wasn't it?
It was, though I did lose to you in numbers.
You won on size, though. Some of these fish are huge. And it was you who caught this beauty.
It is a lovely specimen. The fins are rather like wings, and the scales are reminiscent of a lustrous rainbow. But I have heard this type of fish does not taste good.
It's a little bland, but it's not bad. You just need to fry it in oil to bring the flavor out. There are lots of little bones, too, so you need to be careful eating it.
You truly are an expert, Leonie. I would be delighted if you would cook for us again.
Happily. You know, once this war's over, I'll be able to make even more elaborate dishes. I'm sure none of it will compare to your wife's cooking, though.
Entirely different styles. I very much look forward to seeing what you come up with. Yet another reason to end this war swiftly.
I'm flattered, but that doesn't seem like a good motivation to fight.
On the contrary, it is better than the usual reasons. In the heat of battle, it is little details like a friend's cooking that I reach for to find my courage.
I have to say, I didn't expect that from you. You're always so serious. But I really value our fishing time, too. With all the chaos, it's great to have a way to relax.
I hope there will come a time when we can fish like this without worry, to our heart's content.
Hope's not enough. We need to build that future with our own hands.
Agreed. But even after that is done, you had better not rest idle. I've grown quite fond of your cooking.
Don't worry. There's plenty more where that came from. Speaking of, time to handle today's haul.
Let me lend you a hand.
Balti? Still training at this hour? How unexpectedly diligent of you.
Ah, Hilda! How are things? Anything of note to report?
No? I'm not sure what you mean.
Oh, I don't know. You haven't been approached by any lovelorn goons lately, have you?
Now that you mention it, it's been a few days since any guys have flirted with me.
Fantastic! They got the hint.
Whoa, wait a second. Are you pulling some weird prank on me?
Of course not. I'm just doing my best to keep my promise to Holst, that's all.
Oh, not this again. That was ages ago. I'm sure my brother's forgotten all about it.
Dead wrong, pal. I actually had the chance to see him recently, and he had a new request for me.
What? He told you to get rid of any guys who show interest in me so that I stay his innocent little sister forever?
That sounds more like Sedith than Holst, don't you think?
Fair point. What was the request?
Guys here have the gall to consider you a potential bride. It's my job to test them, see if they're worthy.
I don't like where this is going.
Since Holst isn't here to do the honors, I've spread the word that nobody is fit to marry you unless they can defeat the great king of grappling in a fight.
What? That's exactly the same as getting rid of them.
How so? It only eliminates the guys who are dumb enough to take up the challenge.
No one is that dumb. No one around here thinks they can beat the stupendous king of grappling or whatever.
That's why I leveled the playing field by allowing sneak attacks. Plenty have already tried their luck. One guy actually tried to strangle me in my sleep.
Wow, a sleep strangler. He sounds like husband material.
And that's why I've been training so much. Can't let you end up with some weakling after all.
This is madness! If you keep getting stronger, there won't be anyone who fits the bill.
True. You could spend your whole life searching and never find a match for Balthus the Great. The only people who stand a chance are Holst and me.
To prove that you're worthy of my hand in marriage, you're going to fight yourself?
I always knew I was my own worst enemy. One day I'll finally meet my equal in battle. Me.
So you're going to punch yourself out? Is that your idea of a romantic gesture?
When that fateful day arrives, Hilda, I want you to know that I intend to keep my word.
Huh. A girl could do worse, I suppose. Did you want something, Professor Hanneman?
Ah, Lysithea. Thank you for coming. First, I ask that you allow me to apologize. I fear I hurt you with my insensitive words. I have failed you, not as a researcher, but as a human being.
I'm the one who should apologize. I'm sorry for being rude to you. Anyway, I'll keep going along with your research. I have to be on my way now.
Please, Lysithea, a moment more. I did not call you here simply to apologize. I told you once that you were an exquisite subject for my crest research. Why? Because there are no records of any other person ever having borne 2 crests.
Correct.
We cannot say anything for certain about the makeup of your body. Therefore, it seems hasty to conclude that overcoming your shortened lifespan is an impossible feat.
What is it you're implying?
Lysithea, what is my field of study?
Crestology, of course.
Indeed, and the goal of my field is to unravel every single mystery crests might conceal. Someday, I even hope to devise a means to bestow a crest upon any who desires one.
Why would you want to do such a thing?
Because I despise this world in which the presence or absence of a crest can determine a person's worth.
Huh.
However, if artificially implanting a crest causes too great a toll on the subject, it would be useless. As such, reducing the strain of crests on the human body is one of my research goals. Understanding how to implant a crest might also lead to the knowledge of how to remove them, yes?
Do you think removing a crest could mean that they won't suffer from its effects any longer?
What I am trying to tell you is, the question of whether your lifespan can be restored is entirely within the scope of my research.
Could you really do that?
It is difficult to say for sure. But as long as the possibility exists, I will continue to seek it. Lysithea, let me ask you once more. Will you assist me in my research?
Professor Hanneman, I think I'm the one who should be asking for your help, really. Anyway, I'm sick of a crest determining a person's worth, too.
Ah, is that right? Perhaps you would even like to begin studying crestology yourself. I think you would make a fantastic apprentice. A life devoted to research is a noble life, you know.
If you do manage to restore my lifespan, I'd certainly think about it.
I will hold you to those words. Ah, I see a fine future ahead of us.
Well, we've got another battle coming up. What do you think of our chances?
Winning is always the goal. At any rate, I've done everything I can to prepare.
That's the right attitude. I'm sure they're doing all they can on their side, too.
I don't doubt it, but however strong they are, it's no more than a Fodlan concern. Who knows how far this world extends beyond the boundaries of Fodlan? Talk of strength or weakness doesn't amount to much when it's only in relation to a tiny corner of the world.
Guess you're right. Thinking about it like that, even this war seems like a storm in a teacup.
Exactly. It's nothing more than an internal quarrel amongst the people of Fodlan.
Typical laid-back Claude. I always like talking to you. Your perspective on the world is so refreshing. Things I thought were obvious turn out not to be.
The way you think, that changes the way you see things. Common sense never tells the whole story. It's similar to what we were talking about before, about how you need to doubt yourself first.
True enough, but where did you get these ideas? That perspective of looking past the walls of Fodlan, when it's all we can see in front of us.
Do you really want to know?
I do.
But I'm afraid now isn't the time. When this war is won, I'll tell you all about it. It'll be easier for me to show you than to tell you.
Show me. Are we going somewhere?
It's quite a distance. You'll start to appreciate how big the world is if you go.
Sounds eye-opening. I'll look forward to it. Can we call it a promise?
Yes, it's a promise. But first, let's win this war and leave it far behind us.
Mercedes, I have heard that you are the daughter of imperial nobility. Is that the case?
It is.
And you have a crest as well. Is that not so?
Again, it is.
Why did you not tell me? I was under the impression you were a commoner.
I didn't mean to hide it from you, but you never asked. Besides, I am considered common now. I don't care to flaunt my noble past or my crest. I have no desire to return to that status.
Then, if I may speak hypothetically a moment, does that mean that if a nobleman were to offer you his hand in marriage, you would decline?
Not at all. That's a separate matter entirely. Even if I were to fall in love, regardless of their social status, I'm not looking to marry right now.
What a relief. Forgive my rudeness. I am merely envious of your flexible outlook. It is a posture that I might very well adopt. Not to say that I hang upon your every word, of course.
You mean in terms of love and marriage?
Precisely. Status should be no impediment to love.
But if you marry a woman who isn't a noble, then haven't you neglected your duty?
Not exactly, no. What I said was that my marriage must benefit House Gloucester. So long as that holds true, the bloodline of my partner is actually irrelevant. For instance, if she bore a crest and was at one time considered noble...
Well, now that doesn't sound flexible at all. How can you know if someone will benefit your family? Would you investigate her before allowing yourself feelings? That doesn't sound very noble of you.
That is not what I...
I'm sorry, Lawrence. I was only teasing. I'm sure your lack of tact is what women find so irresistible.
Come again?
Oh, nothing at all. I hope you do your family proud and fulfill your duty.
Yes, I most certainly will. Lysithea, it's no good for you to expose yourself to such strong sunlight. and a chill could steal upon you at any moment. You really ought to have worn a mantle. You have been running yourself absolutely ragged. Would you please consider taking some rest?
Enough is enough. I am fully aware. Now, stop following me.
I'm only concerned for your health.
That's great and all, but I feel fine today, and I'm perfectly capable of caring for myself. I don't have time to take a rest. I'm overloaded with work, and I have less time than everyone else. I just want to do my own thing, bring order to the Alliance, and put my parents' minds at ease.
No need to rush. How can you be so certain your lifespan is shortened anyway? I do not know who decided that, but consider me skeptical. If you are healthy now, and if you take proper care of yourself, you ought to live just as long as anyone else.
That's all well and good, but those vitamin-packed sweets you brought tasted weird.
If you want a healthy body, then you need to start with what you eat.
You have a point, but those health sweets are gross.
I sent for the finest in wholesome, healthy treats for you. I asked only for the very sweetest.
That was pretty nice of you. I'm sorry, Lawrence. Thank you for being so thoughtful. Still, I don't need bushels and bushels of them. Gaining a ton of weight won't exactly lengthen my lifespan either. I mean, I like to be able to hang out with you as much as possible, and for as long as possible.
Truly? Oh, I'm so glad. I feel the same. Even in an otherwise perfect future, I still cannot see a happy life for myself without you in it. In fact, the more time we spend together, the more essential to me you become. So let us walk side by side toward a future together.
Yikes! Keep it down, will you?
Why are you flustered? What is there to be embarrassed about? You know I will always care for you.
Okay, noted. Will you just calm down already?
You need not worry about a thing. I will look after you no matter what may come. After all, the future of Fodlan rests upon my shoulders, does it not?
I won't give up on myself either. Thanks for caring, Lawrence. Oof. Capsized the teapot. Tea leaves on the carpet. This'll be fun to clean up.
Hey, Hilda. Is something wrong?
Ignatz. I accidentally knocked over my teapot. I'd drunk all the tea already, thank the goddess, but the tea leaves went right into the carpet.
Oh, that's a mess. Here, let me help. I can leave stains if you're not careful.
But don't you have somewhere to be?
Oh no, don't worry. I'm on a break.
What's that in your hands? Oh, painting supplies. You were gonna go do some painting, weren't you?
Ah, yes. The weather's quite splendid, and I found a place where some gorgeous flowers are blooming. But the flowers aren't going anywhere this second. Let's clean this up.
Okay. Thanks, Ignatz, and sorry to keep you away from your painting.
That's okay. It didn't stain, at least. We picked all the leaves out of the carpet.
Still going painting? Or is it too late in the day?
No, I think time-wise it'll be fine. If you're not doing anything, Hilda, would you care to join me? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. Forget what I said. I'm sure you're busy anyway.
You didn't let me say anything.
Well, no, but you didn't reply, so I thought you didn't want to.
I never said I didn't want to. I was just surprised. I'd love to see those pretty flowers you mentioned. I'm glad you invited me.
Oh, that's good. Wait, you're glad?
Of course I am. I like being invited to things silly.
Right, of course. It's affirming.
Yeah, exactly. See? You get it. So there's no need to worry that an invitation is burdening someone. It feels good to be asked.
Of course. Well then, in addition to seeing the flowers with me, would you like to help with my painting?
I wouldn't want to screw up your opus. I'm not much of a painter.
No, I meant that I'd like to paint you, with the flowers all around you. Oh, That's too much, isn't it? Forget I said anything.
Silly, you didn't even let me answer. But you're right, I'm not up for that.
I'm sorry,
I'm not up for that, unless your painting of me will look really, really cute. Can you make that happen?
Huh? Yes, of course. I'll paint you cute as a button.
Good. Shouldn't be too hard. I can feel a very cute smile coming on.
It's only a scratch, Leonie. I'm all right.
One mistake like that in battle and you're done. This is your weapon hand, isn't it? Let me stop the blood.
Apologies for the trouble.
No trouble, and no apologies. Thanks is what you say when a friend helps you out. Darn.
What's wrong?
I need a bandage to stop the bleeding, but this is all I've got.
My handkerchief.
I was only carrying it around to give back to you anyway. Mind if I use it for this?
Very well. I suppose that's fitting in a way.
I guess so. Not that I'm happy you're bleeding. I'm glad you'll accept it, though. In the past, you might have refused it.
Yes. I might have made it an issue of commoners giving aid to the nobility or some such.
I didn't understand why you were so strict about it, but I think I kind of get it now. You know, if every noble were like you, the world would be a better place.
Perhaps, but you were right. Many great deeds are accomplished by friends working together, especially when those friends are as capable as you.
Me?
I hope this is not the first time I have told you this, Leonie, but you are an exceptional individual. By insisting on matters of status in dealing with you, I have done you a terrible disservice. For that, please accept my apology. Let us promise to look out for one another as friends from now on.
No need for vows. That's how I've always seen it. You weren't wrong about nobles and commoners each having their own roles. But the important thing is we help each other.
That is precisely what being friends with you has helped me to understand. In fact, I've begun somewhat to think of you as rather something more.
Huh? Sorry, what did you say?
I said, I hope we'll always give each other support.
Lawrence, look!
What is it, Hilda? Ah, a letter from your brother?
That's right. Though part of me thinks it's some stranger imitating my brother's handwriting. He's never given me this much praise. Hilda, you've learnt the value of persistence. You're really maturing, stuff like that. Usually his letters are like, I'm worried about you, and stop being so lazy.
Since I have fought by your side, I can assure you that his praise is genuine and entirely deserved.
I've written about fighting in plenty of letters. Why is he so gushy this time around?
I would venture to guess that your depictions of battle are more passionate than before. It's no surprise that such authenticity would resonate with a veteran warrior like your brother.
If that's true, I have you to thank. You've inspired me to throw myself into battle. Does everyone think I'm a tough warrior now? I don't want to be stuck with their high expectations.
Would that be so terrible? You are gifted, you know. Not to say that your lackadaisical nature has failed to endear itself to me.
I'll choose to take that as a compliment.
Speaking of letters, did you keep your promise? Did you, mention me?
I did. I told my brother all about you. I said you were a uniquely gifted leader who could inspire people to be their best selves. And I said that you'll be a real asset to the Alliance. I also told him how I wished you could join our family. He responded that he'd be honored to call you his brother.
Truly? Oh, to have such a valiant brother would be beyond my wildest expectations.
Lawrence? You know what I mean about you joining our family, right?
I believe I do. And I confess, if I am correct, that the same thought has preoccupied me as well. But you must forgive me. Now is not the time. Before we can consider our own future, we must first end this war. We must secure a peaceful world.
And if we do attain a peaceful world, then what? Come on! Just say it.
As much as I'd like to grant that request, I cannot. This is something that will deeply affect our lives. It must be said at the proper time and place, with the most artfully chosen words, and the perfect offering. I am Lawrence Hellman Gloucester, after all.
I'm not usually one for waiting around, but maybe I'll make an exception in his case.
Hey, Ignatz. Drawing again?
I am. I suppose that's rather irresponsible, as we're in the midst of a war. But ever since we last spoke, I felt keen to pursue my artistic aspirations.
Like I said, it's your calling. Don't feel bad about it.
All right, I'll try to embrace it. And you, are you practicing archery today?
More just double-checking this bowstring. I want to make sure it's ready for the next battle.
Okay. Well, let's both do our best.
That's the spirit. Does that mean you finally accepted that you're an artist?
I'll try to discuss it with my parents after the war. There's little demand for knights in peacetime. In fact, painting might be a more reliable way for me to support my family. I'll try to persuade them with arguments along those lines.
Good point. I'm glad you've got some confidence.
Come to think of it, Leonie, what will you do when the war is over?
Me? I'm going to become a top-tier mercenary.
A mercenary in peacetime?
Even after the war's over, there'll be plenty of work for me to do before peace really takes hold. I'll pay what I owe my village back, with interest. After that, I don't know. Never thought about it.
I'm sure you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Hardly. Lots of options just don't suit me. I mean, could you imagine me as a songstress? But yeah, I don't know. Once I've paid off my debts, I guess I'll just have to find something new.
I don't think there's any rush. You can travel and relax, and think about it.
Travel, huh? There's an idea. Want to come with?
Huh? Me?
Sure. You were really excited about different styles across the world, weren't you? Don't you want more of that? Maybe even see the sky in a new shade.
Yes, I suppose I do. I'd like to see the whole world.
If your parents object, we'll just say I kidnapped you. Actually, feel free to say that even if you go alone.
Oh no, I want us to see the world together. Your presence makes every landscape more beautiful.
Hey, hold on. What's this all of a sudden?
Oh, that's not what I meant.
You're hilarious, Ignatz. There's never a dull moment with you around.
Dear Goddess, I ask for guidance. Professor, you're always watching over me, aren't you?
Of course, Marianne.
I've spent my life avoiding people, so I wouldn't have to expose them to this horrible burden of a crest. My father was born with it as well. He's the one who told me to avoid others as much as possible. He said it would be the cause of great unhappiness to both myself and everyone around me. After some time, I was only truly comfortable opening up to animals and the goddess. Do you remember the time you asked what it was I prayed for?
When you asked for thanks and protection?
Yes, but that wasn't the case. Back then, I felt that my life served no purpose and that I was nothing more than a burden. In truth, I was begging the goddess to take me to her. That was my daily prayer. But now I fear the idea of dying and being left alone. I have friends who accept me for who I am now, in spite of my crest. And I have you watching over me. I finally learned to accept the kindness and warmth of others. It's because of you, Professor. Because of you, I've decided to live. I'm sorry to have worried you, but I'm all right now. I'm still not ready to tell everyone about my crest, but I feel that the burden of my curse has been lifted. Even if I'm separated from you or any of my friends, The memories I've made here will give me the strength to continue on.
You should look to the future instead of the past. From now on, we'll have a future to look forward to together.
Oh, I'm sure I'll have the strength to move forward if we're together.
Hey, Professor. I think you've been working too much lately. The battle's gonna keep going with or without you, but you're the one doing the most out there. It's real impressive how you can focus on giving orders and fighting. I don't think I could do both in the same battle. I see you running all over the place, even after the battle's over. I just don't want you to wear yourself out.
Okay, maybe I'm a little bit tired.
You gotta take a break when you can. Even when you're feeling fine, it could suddenly hit you. No offense, Professor, but don't you think some folks might be taking advantage of you? Claude keeps asking you to do things, but you never say no. Like when you gave that speech to the troops. That didn't seem like something you wanted to do. I know you gotta follow orders on the battlefield, but you shouldn't have to do things off the battlefield if you don't wanna.
But the things that have to be done.
What do you mean? Like studying? Sure, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but that was to keep my little sis fed. I had good reason for it.
And that's the same for me.
The same, huh? I think I get what you mean. You do things you don't want to do for the sake of everyone else. That's real noble of you, Professor. I guess I can't get in your way if you're doing it for the right reasons. Okay then. I'm gonna keep trying to do my best. But now, I'm gonna do it for you. My little sis is important to me. But you're real important too. I always work hard for the people who matter to me. And having more of them in my life just means I gotta work even harder. What do you think?
I think you're important to me as well, Raphael.
Really? I wasn't expecting you to say that. You're gonna make me blush. We gotta keep working hard together then. At least until this war's over. I'll work to make sure you don't collapse from exhaustion. You got nothing to worry about, Professor. I've been training non-stop. I got your back, no matter what.
How incredible. What a striking color. Ah, Professor, look at this stone. Such a brilliant blue. You don't normally find stones like this around here. I ought to grind it down. I wonder if it would still be the same color.
Why are you grinding it down?
To make pigment for my art. Good supplies don't come cheap. I prefer to make my own. Blue is especially expensive. How fortunate that I chanced upon this remarkable blueness. Oh, I'm sorry. There I go again, blathering on and on about painting.
Well, it's just your hobby, right?
Oh, yes. But I know that I can get rather caught up in it and, enthusiastic. You know, Professor, no matter how impassioned I become about my art, you never hold it against me. One could argue that I'm better off preparing for our next battle. I am becoming a knight.
I think you should become an artist.
Oh, Professor, please don't say things like that. I gave up on my artistic dreams long ago. To support my family, I will be a knight. That's that.
Will you regret your choice?
No. I know it's the right thing to do. I'll continue with my art as a hobby. I don't think I could ever give it up. When I see something beautiful, I can't suppress the urge to paint it. I don't have a choice. And if my art can bring happiness to even one person, that's good enough for me.
As long as you're sure, Ignatz.
Professor, I have a favor to ask. I'm painting a portrait right now. When it's finished, I'd like to give the piece to you. Would you take it? Perhaps it can bring you a little happiness. That will have made the effort well worth it. Oh, excellent! Is that a promise? because I'm really going to put my heart in it. That is, I'm going to enjoy partaking in this casual hobby of mine.
Which means that there are some elements of your power that cannot be explained by current theory. Although this may lead to a discovery that alters the very fabric of Crest research. Oh, pardon me, Professor. I became lost in thought, and I do tend to ramble. I suggest we call it a day. Do you concur?
I'm fine to keep talking, actually.
No, you mustn't push yourself too hard. When you are not in battle, you are so often here with me. I get so energized speaking with you. Well, I must remember to pull my head out of the clouds. That said, perhaps we should discuss things unrelated to crests from time to time. Some sort of silly, lighthearted topic might be nice, eh?
Do you have one in mind?
I'm not especially skilled at small talk, alas. Let me see. Perhaps we should discuss... I know. Food. Not my strong suit, the culinary arts, but I do enjoy a good meal. Which kind of food do you prefer, Professor? Sweet or spicy?
Honestly, I enjoy sweets a lot more. Spicy is kind of fine, though.
Same as myself. Yes, indeed. Oh, now my stomach is growling. An old colleague of mine theorized that those who bear crests favor sweet flavors over spicy. She suggested that the crest exerts some manner of influence over... Oh, there I go again. How embarrassing. We were supposed to be avoiding talk of crests, weren't we? Terrible habit of mine, finding a way to turn any conversation towards crests. I really should find a way to stop that.
You can talk more about crust. It's fine with me.
That is kind of you, Professor, but it's all right. If you were to lose your patience with me, it could have an incalculable impact on my research. That sort of thing has happened in the past, you know. Back when I was still in the Empire. At first, any lady I was spending time with would titter and say she didn't mind if I talked about crests. But at some point, she would always become fed up and stop listening to what I had to say. In the end, invariably, while I was particularly focused on my research, she would write to say we were done. I will do everything I can to keep that from happening this time.
Do you have a moment, Professor? I need to speak with you. Thank you so much. This is what I wanted to address. This letter from my adoptive father just arrived.
Your adoptive father?
Oh, have I not mentioned him? He's the reason I first came to the Officers' Academy. He's also the one who dragged me from the church where I was living, just so he could use my crest.
I'm not sure if I understand.
My crest does not yet belong to a house, so he plans to use it as leverage to marry into the nobility. He's a very greedy man who was a roving merchant before adopting me, but now he's in the capital. This letter says that he's finally arranged to marry me off to a wealthy noble. I know he's just thinking of himself, but can't he see that this isn't a priority when we're at war?
My thoughts exactly.
I don't know what to do about this proposal.
Will you accept?
I can't see any way around it, so I fear that I must. I just don't want to let go of the life that I've made for myself. I know it's not what my heart wants, but I don't have the strength to say no.
But what does your heart want?
I believe I've mentioned this before,
but I want to work in service of the church. Well, I suppose it doesn't necessarily have to be the church, but I want to help those in need. If I were to marry a noble, I think it would be difficult to realize that dream.
Why can't you decline then?
It's just, I've always allowed myself to follow the whims of those above me. I convinced myself that everything in life was at the will of the goddess. I was blind to reality. I believed it was her will to both pull me from the church and guide me to the officers' academy. The decision to enter this war was the first time I acted of my own free will. My adoptive father opposed this decision, but I somehow managed to convince him. Still, I couldn't free myself of him completely. This letter is proof of that. It's not that I'm scared of him, but there is something that worries me.
Severing your ties?
Ah, I knew you'd understand, Professor. I've sat down to write a reply several times, but I can't muster up the courage or the words. I was hoping you could provide me with the encouragement I need.
You can't just give up on your dreams.
That's a very good point. We're only given one life, so we must do all we can to pursue our happiness. Okay. I think that may have been just the push I was looking for. I'll tell him the truth. That I found a life worth pursuing, and I must decline the proposal. Maybe I should tell him I've fallen for someone else.
Who might that be?
Why, it's you, Professor. Isn't that obvious?
I wouldn't say obvious.
I'm just teasing. Now I'm off to write this letter and stand my ground. Thank you for your encouragement.